The final moment that the nation is awaiting since last night has come. Then the President of India, Murmu, has finally accepted the resignation of the Vice President, Dhankhar. What exactly went wrong, frankly speaking, no one knows. Why all of a sudden Dhankhar has submitted his resignation, that too citing the health reasons, no one knows. Because frankly speaking, if any leader resigns from the health issues, it will be known to the common public for what the leader is suffering, under what basis the treatment is going on, and on what basis whether he will be continuing in the position or not. The general public and the nation will be getting the idea. Examples are Sushma Swaraj, Arun Jaitley, and even the former Goa Chief Minister. They have fallen sick during their position. Treatment went on. They were hospitalized in between. And that particular sick face was seen, was realized by the entire nation. And for that reason, Sushma Swaraj and Arun Jaitley were not included in Modi 2.0. And within no time after Modi 2.0 has sworn in, both Sushma Swaraj and Arun Jaitley has passed away. So in that way, why I am quoting this particular reason is because if any leader falls ill, it will be known to the nation. But Jagdeep Dhankhar case is not that much. Not even a single trace of his illness was known. Even during the tenure of Manmohan Singh and Pranab Mukherjee, if we go back to the history, when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister, when he was serving, he had underwent a surgery and he has skipped the Republic Day vacation for that. Apologies, Republic Day celebrations as a Prime Minister, and he has nominated Pranab Mukherjee, who was then the Cabinet Minister, to be in the position to check the Republic Day celebrations. We all remember that. And during the presidency of the same Pranab Mukherjee also, Pranab Mukherjee has underwent the stunt when he suffered a mild heart attack, but he did not step down. Similarly, Atal Bihari Vajpayee has undergone a surgery in his knee. He travelled all the way from Delhi to Mumbai for the better treatment to the Breach Candy Hospital, and he went the knee operation when he was serving as the Prime Minister. So these health reasons and resignation among the health reasons is not a common thing. But in all those cases, whether it is Vajpayee or whether it is Manmohan Singh, whether it is Sushma Swaraj or Arun Jaitley, they haven't submitted the resignation. They have served their full time. But Jagdeep Dhankhar, all of a sudden, no one is having the trace of his illness, but all of a sudden he has submitted the resignation last evening. What went wrong exactly is not known to anybody. But opposition leaders, including the Lok Sabha leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi, and Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav, staged a protest in a different issue. But the entire opposition is speculating that something went wrong between the ruling party and Jagdeep Dhankhar, especially since the money or the impeachment of the Supreme Court judge case has come into the issue, which has the judge has to get impeached. This particular impeachment of the judge was raised by the opposition. Finally, the judge is going to get impeached. So this is also a very rare circumstances, because whenever a Supreme Court judge or the High Court judge has to get impeached, they have to submit their argument in both the houses. It's not a normal resignation. They have to submit their argument in both the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, and they will be impeached by both the houses, and finally it will be going to the Collegium and the President of India, and they will be getting impeached. But this particular issue, the sources of several media outlets, and those media outlets, we cannot confirm you, but you might have seen in many of the media outlets that as per the sources, this particular issue of the impeachment of the judge has sparked a very, very bigger ignition between the ruling party and the Vice President, for which Vice President finally has announced his resignation. What exactly went wrong? No one knows. Whether it is the health reason or not, no one knows. And that too when the session is going on. We should all remember one more thing, that Vice President Dhankhar did not wait for the completion of this particular session itself. During the first day of the session itself, he made this very thorough decision. This is very unusual. Yes, it is very much unusual because he did not wait for the session to get completed. Frankly speaking, we are yet to get the information on who will be chairing the particular chairman of the Rajya Sabha in this particular session, whether it will be done by the deputy chairman or whether the president will be nominating any other person. Frankly speaking, we need a thorough investigation on the constitutional positions and so many. But as for the normal process, two things are common. Whenever the president resigns, he will be submitting, or he or she will be submitting the resignation to the vice president. That is the only position in the entire India where a person will be submitting the resignation to his subordinate rather than his superior, because President of India is the head of the state, and only in that particular case the President of India has to submit the resignation to his subordinate, immediate subordinate, which is Vice President of India. But the central government can take the decision within a stipulated time of 6 months. 6 months is the stipulated time where a new president has to chosen. The Raisana Hill will be getting a new boss in those 6 months. So 6 months of time, the position of the president would be vacant, or it will be occupied by the vice president or the Supreme Court Chief Justice, depending upon the availability and the decision of the central government. This is a very unusual circumstances. Yes, India did face, not because of the resignation of the president, but yes, whenever president has died, this particular situation has arisen. But in the case of vice president will be submitting the resignation to the president of India, his immediate superior. Of course, vice president of India is the second most respected person or the second most superior person in the nation. So the vice president of India, who is also the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, like Jagdeep Dhankhar, has submitted the resignation last evening to the president of India. He thanked it, and he said that he got enough chances to serve the country, and citing health reasons, he has taken this particular decision. Finally, President Draupadi Murmu has accepted the resignation. Since last night, 9:30 p.m. approximately, just few minutes back, approximately till 12:30, these particular 15 hours, entire nation was finger crossed that whether the President of India would be asking the Vice President to reconsider the issue or not. Frankly speaking, two things will be there, that if anybody cites the health reasons, no one will be asking for the reconsideration of the issue, because at the end of the day, whether it is a president or whether it is a vice president, or whether like Pope Benedict, the Pope, who is the head of the Vatican, health is not to be taken at risk. But because Vice President of India has not shown any symptoms of illness, at least in the public platform, entire nation was speculating whether the President of India would be accepting the resignation or not. Finally, President of India has accepted the resignations, means India will be having the new Vice President and Rajya Sabha will be having its new chairman at any point of time from now. There will not be any stipulated time for the selection of the Vice President. It has to be held as early as possible. The ruling party and the opposition party will be choosing their candidates, will be fielding their candidates to the position of the Rajya Sabha chairman or the Vice President, and the election will be taking place as soon as possible. And this electoral college, as we all know, the members of the parliament and the members of the legislative assembly will be the electoral college members who will be choosing the president, whereas the MPs will be having the more weightage and the MLAs will be having predominantly less weightage in every vote count or the every vote. So, but now if we overall see, NDA is having a simple majority in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and BJP is in power in most of the states in India. So, whoever the BJP fields, he will be the winner. He or she will be the winner. Whether it is a female or male candidate, frankly speaking, we will not be knowing, because frankly speaking, Rajya Sabha chairman or the vice president, till now no woman has occupied that particular position. So, I am quoting it as he. In some cases, I will be quoting it as he or she. The viewers kindly note that what exactly is what I am saying is, as we all know that whoever BJP candidate feels, he will be the next vice president, because BJP is having sufficient majority in both the houses and also in the assemblies throughout India. So Congress is in power in only 3 states, the allied forces are in a couple of other states. So overall BJP is in power in most of the country. So it's not at all a suspense. Whoever the BJP feels they will be the coming to power, he will be coming to power as the chairman of the Rajya Sabha and the vice president of India. But what exactly has led to the resignation of the vice president's resignation? We will be continuing a complete coverage throughout the day, because this is the big event that has happened that probably the nation has not seen since its independence so far, citing this particular health reasons. Because Vice President of India is a most honorable position and also the busy position, because President of India, of course, he will be the head of the state and he will be having his own protocol. But whereas the Vice President of India, he is the second head of the state, but he is a complete busy person, being the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, and also he will be having a very unique powers in the absence of the President of India. So this particular position to some extent is occupied, and in public view Vice President is mostly seen than the President of India. So the position of the Vice President of India is not a joke. Since Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan to now, every Vice President also has a very decent and a dignified name, because first ever Vice President Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan we celebrate still as a Teachers' Day. Correspondingly later on, of course, he has become the President of India. There are couple of Vice Presidents, even the immediate past Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, of course they did not become the President of India, but these faces of the Vice President is in known faces, because they are the people who approve most of the key bills when it comes to the Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha being the upper house is very much important, because these particular bills getting approved under the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So Vice President of India is often considered as one of the decent yet busy post of India. To some extent, he will be with the public more than the President of India. Yes, it is the fact. So this particular Vice President of India position getting vacant is really a very disheartening thing, frankly speaking. If it is only because of the health reason, the opposition parties would be just wishing a speedy recovery. But opposition parties has raised the speculation alarm, and since then the entire nation has checked what exactly might have went wrong. Is only the health reason is the actual reason, or could be anything else, is one particular thing which has raised the concern and raised the doubt by different media persons. Finally, several media outlets have given their own versions, several sources have given their own reasons, but most of the sources have said that the reason is the judge impeachment is the main thing which went a toss between the ruling party and the Vice President. Of course, this particular thing I would like to reiterate again and again that these sources are not accurate, but to some extent they can be trustworthy. Why I am saying trustworthy is only thing because just after the starting of the crucial session, Vice President taking this particular decision is not at all a usual thing. Not at all a usual thing, because as we all know that the opposition parties have been asking since Operation Sindoor to conduct the special session of both the houses. The opposition parties have many times have gone to the Vice President them himself and passed a request that has given the requisition letter to conduct a special session of the Parliament, because they are having few doubts on the suspension of Operation Sindoor, and also they demanded the answer that what went wrong in the Pahalgam attack, why the Pahalgam attack has to happen, and whether it is an intelligence failure. The opposition parties wanted to raise their voice against the government of India, but The special session has not yet conducted. Regularly, the monsoon session has started. The ruling party has not taken the decision, has not considered the request of the opposition parties. They have gone into the normal session about the conducting of the special session. They did not conduct. Regular monsoon session has only happened, but to very strange thing beyond anybody's imagination, the chairman of the Rajya Sabha has resigned on the opening day of the monsoon session. What exactly is the reason? If at all, Vice President health is the only criteria, including me, entire nation wishes him a speedy recovery. But is the health reason so much that he has left the position, which is very unique position? Probably he himself in his life might not have even imagined that he would be going to the position of the Vice President of India. Previously, he was the governor, and all of a sudden, because actually I remember when this particular election of the Vice President was taking place, when the immediately after the President was chosen, immediately after Draupadi Murmu was elected as the BJP candidate, and obviously she was by default next president couple of years back. All eyes were on who would be the next Vice President. Everybody thought that Venkaiah Naidu would be given the chance as the Vice President of India, but he did not get. The gender, the caste, of course, it plays a very crucial role. No, till now, nobody from the scheduled tribe community has become the President of India, has not gone to the top post, and the BJP has fielded a scheduled tribe women candidate as the President of India. So, all eyes over on the Vice President of India, that who would be the next Vice President of India. Ever since the Vice President, if we check out the history of the Vice President, the first ever Vice President is Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, on whose birthday we celebrate it as Teachers' Day. He was the only person who has served the position of the Vice President twice. And when during the first inaugural after the independence, when Dr. Rajendra Prasad has become the President of India, he was the only person who has served the President of India for 2 terms. Similarly, in those 2 terms, Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan also has continued as the Vice President, and correspondingly he has become the President of India. Ever since Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan till Hamid, previous Vice President under the UPA, no one else has become or continued for the 2 terms. So, many people have speculated that Venkaiah Naidu, frankly speaking, he was a voice of BJP before he was chosen as the Vice President of India. So, everybody thought that he could become the next President of India, but unfortunately to him, on the BJP's decision, on the caste and the gender basis, Draupadi Murmu has become the President of India, and everybody thought that at least Venkaiah Naidu would be continuing as the Vice President of India for the 2nd term, because whatever might be, Venkaiah Naidu has proven a very brilliant record in conducting the Rajya Sabha. His experience obviously has played a vital role, he himself being the member of Rajya Sabha for a very long time. And in the history of Rajya Sabha, in the recent times, quality time spending in Rajya Sabha has happened under the Vice Presidency of Venkaiah Naidu. The Rajya Sabha session for the 5 years went on very smooth, and so he was applauded even by the opposition leaders. He was considered as one of the best candidate to become the president, but he did not. At least people thought that he would be continuing as the Vice President, but he did not. He has not chosen by the BJP to get continued as the Vice President of India. And then several faces have come into picture, and Jagdeep Dhankhar, who was the then governor, was chosen as the Vice President of India. Till then, Jagdeep Dhankhar's name was not known to much of India. Immediately after he has become the Vice President, he was known obviously because at that till that particular time he was not active in the central politics. Obviously, he was not known to most of the India, and he was chosen with an election, and he has become the vice president. So that was not an easy thing. That was not an easy position. Jagdeep Dhankhar, he himself might not have dreamt that he would be the second most powerful person of the nation. But with a very short span, he submitted his resignation. And if we check out the history of Jagdeep Dhankhar, he was blamed several times by the opposition that he is showing partiality on the ruling party. Many times, even the no confidence motion, opposition at one particular time has even thought of passing a no confidence motion against the chair of the Rajya Sabha. This was a very rare event happened, because frankly speaking, no confidence motion against the Speaker of Lok Sabha is quite a common thing that has happened. Of course, frankly speaking, no confidence motion was passed, that was entirely waived off, but no confidence motion against the chair of the Rajya Sabha happening is very rare. And Jagdeep Dhankhar's way of conducting the Rajya Sabha also, to some extent it was interesting, to some extent it was not. To some extent it was humorous, to some extent it was condemnable. The social media is completely filled. Frankly speaking, no Rajya Sabha session, the social media has filled with the laughs of the vice president like that of Jagdeep Dhankhar. The conversation between Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar and Jaya Bachchan, the member of the Rajya Sabha, is still echoes in our ears. And one particular time, the opposition members outside the parliament has even mimicked Jagdeep Dhankhar. Rahul Gandhi has shot the video of that mimic. Jagdeep Dhankhar, he himself said that this is very much condemnable. If anyone has any problem, they can bring it to the chair, but in the premises of the parliament, somebody mimicking the chairman of Rajya Sabha, who is also the vice president, is not at all on it. The opposition parties, especially the TMC party at that particular time, has issued an apology, but that particular event has sparked a controversy that opposition party has always said only one particular thing, that vice president definitely is not transparent and is not impartial whenever the bells come, or whenever the time allotment to the opposition leader to raise any issue is accurate. Yet this particular issues, this particular arguments kept on going. Every session, frankly speaking, we would be seeing these particular events. Jagdeep Dhankhar has many times severely confronted the opposition members, whenever they are condemning any act of the chair of the Rajya Sabha. These particular things are still available in different videos which are available in the social media. But what went wrong is $1 million question. The opposition, which was severely criticizing the Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar in the way he conducts the session of the Rajya Sabha, today they themselves are speculating that there could be something behind the forced resignation of this particular Vice President. Frankly speaking, in a very strange way, the opposition parties so far has condemning Vice President in the way he conducts the Rajya Sabha. Today they are indirectly in support of the same Vice President. And the ruling party, which has been supporting, and to some extent I can say without any doubt that yes, Jagdeep Dhankhar was favoring or allotting more time to the ruling party, or to some extent he was listening to the ruling party whenever any session is getting conducted, now is facing a backlash from the ruling party. Prime Minister Modi, of course, he has said that Jagdeep Dhankhar has got a chance in serving the country in many ways. Now is quite on this particular resignation issue. He just passed on a normal sentence that Jagdeep Dhankhar has got a chance to serve the nation in many ways. But what exactly went wrong between the BJP and the Vice President is still on the speculation. This is the big story of the day. We will giving you the continuous coverage on the Dhankhar demits issue that probably the nation has not seen, which is that unusual in the history of India. We will be continually updating you about the proceedings of the Vice President and who would be the next Vice President. Keep watching CVR News English.